Hi, and thanks for joining me. I'm pretty excited today because I'm kicking off a new series called Spin Cycle, which I hope to upload every Monday, all going to plan. I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy this very much, so hopefully you will enjoy it too. Now, what's it all about? Well, I am picking up that the Harry and Meghan thing is sort of entering its dying days, and I'm intrigued to see how the tabloid media and also the broadsheet media, the more respectable media, is actually handling that and how they're sort of spinning that. So I thought every Monday I would sort of look at all the stories that they put out the previous week and discuss it with you and make my own comments. Now, what brought this on was I gave myself my own idea because with my last Snucky Snippet last Friday, I actually called it Spin Cycle. And I thought, you know what? This would be really fun to do seriously, not just as a snarky snippet. I will still be doing my snarky snippets. Don't worry. But also what prompted it was the reaction to my last sort of serious video, which was where I was asserting that Harry is not in the same position as Johnny Depp. I also suggested in that video that I was sensing a finessing of Harry's reputation. Now, I don't know who is finessing his reputation. I'm not saying that it's the palace, of course. I'm not saying that it's Hollywood. I don't know who it is. I'm just picking it up. Now, it could be someone that Harry is actually paying, that someone that Harry's employed. And if that's the case, if I was Harry, I would keep this one on because he's had the best press in the last week than he's had in years. Now, of course, everyone's saying now, but Shauna, what about the Hollywood Reporter article? That wasn't good press. Well, it sort of was because it wasn't particularly damning. Yes, they said that he enabled Meghan's bad behaviour, but the really sort of damning critique was reserved for Meghan. I mean, let's face it, they had to say something about Harry that was negative. Otherwise, they'd let the cat out of the bag. Otherwise, it would seem just too obvious who they were targeting. The great thing is, for those of you that don't like Meghan Markle, and I think that I would count myself in that in that camp. The good news is I think she's done and dusted. I'm afraid professionally she's had it. I mean, she's all gone, baby. I can see that no one thinks that she has any more sort of professional worth, any more worth as far as networking goes, any more worth for anybody. Those that were seeking to use her for whatever purpose, she's pretty much a done deal. It just hasn't worked out. Her public reputation is destroyed. It's all over, Red Rover. So I don't think we really have to worry about Meghan Markle anymore. I get the discarding feeling, which is ironic because a lot of people that really buy into the fact that she is the narcissist who is cruelly treating Harry, our happy chappy Harry, so dreadfully, would say that she was in the process of discarding Harry. But I'm afraid the tables have turned. I can see that Harry's reputation is being finessed, like I said. When it reaches a suitable degree of respectability, I am anticipating an announcement. I'm anticipating a formal separation from Meghan, professionally at the very least. Now, we're also going to have a bit of fun in Spin Cycle because I've got some really funny things to show you, and I'm going to kick off with one of those really funny things right now. Now, we all know that Newsweek is an absolute joke, particularly Jack Royston, and we all know that they're very much Harkle-friendly media. Well, about 6 months ago, I actually drew attention to the fact that Jack Royston tends to like to say that, oh my goodness, Harry and Meghan have gone viral. And he bases that actually on a TikTok video that has got 1 million views or so. And then he makes a headline about it. It's become a bit of a predictable pattern. Well, I was surprised to see just how much of a predictable pattern it has become. First one is crowd reaction to Prince Harry's return goes viral ahead of UK visit. Now, being the proprietor of the Vintage Read Show, I know how easy it is to swap your V's for your B's because the number of times I've actually typed the Vintage Read Show into tags, you wouldn't want to read about it. If I had $1 for every time, I'd be a millionaire. So that's what's happened here. But the funny and amusing point here is no one corrected it for quite a while, so I managed to get a screenshot. Now, I'm not going to delve into these articles because really who cares what Jack Royston from Newsweek has to say? But what I want to show you is all the headlines with this theme. Here's the next one. Meghan Markle getting rizzed by schoolboy goes viral. Now, the amusing thing about this is that these were all taken from headlines only 3-4 months old. They're not from when these things happened. This happened back in 2018 when she was still part of the royal family, or at the end of her stint with the royal family. So what he does is someone contrives for these put together clips to go viral on TikTok, whereupon Jack very obligingly makes a headline out of it. So, something that happened over 5 years ago is suddenly going viral on TikTok. Next, I just wanted to reassure myself what Riz meant because it sounded incredibly rude to me, so I thought I would look it up. To attract someone's attention and make them like you in a romantic or sexual way, or try to do this by behaving in a particular way. So they were trying to sort of flirt with her at this occasion anyway. Who cares? Ho-hum. Let's move on. Next one. Prince Harry's moment with Spanish Queen goes viral. Again, really old. Really, really old, but it's going viral. Next one. Now, occasionally, Jack Royston feels his sort of journalistic integrity, his training sort of trying to get out. And at that point, he suddenly does a positive spin on something to do with the Waleses. Just to make him seem unbiased just for that brief moment. So this was one such moment. Prince George's adorable accent goes viral. And it is adorable, Jack. It is. Next one. Prince Harry's reaction to hug from child goes viral. Princess Kate pushing Camilla, our viral claim, debunked. Oh my goodness, that's a different take, Jack. How long did it take you to think that up? I bet that took weeks. But isn't that an absolute hoot that we can track all that down? And to tell you the truth, there was more. There was actually more. Makes you think, doesn't it, that with all the interns that are just biting at the bit to get a gig with some sort of publication, that all these old dinosaurs like Jack Royston who've been covering the Harry and Meghan show so faithfully for over 5 years and can only come up with that sort of thing, you would think that there was room for new blood, there was room for new talent, and I would encourage Newsweek to explore all those options. Let's see what else is making the spin cycle, shall we? And it's this one. And I just like saying this, Schadenfreude. Is that correct? I hope it's correct. Schadenfreude. Now there's genuine dislike towards Harry and Meghan at Schadenfreude with extra venom. Has Hollywood turned on the Sussexes? Well, I believe they've turned on Meghan, yes. Industry bigwigs reveal the inside story to Alison Boshoff. Okay, now this is interesting, so I'm going to delve into this a little bit with you because it is quite telling, very telling actually. One senior figure who has watched Harry and Meghan's progress in Hollywood with interest said this week they seem to be reaping the kind of schadenfreude with extra venom at which the entertainment business excels. He adds, it's only a matter of time before the industry press start taking shots. Well, they're taking shots. It's happening. It's happening. It's hard to find anyone with a good word to say for their film and television credibility. Now, I would argue that the distancing of Harry from the film television thing was happening maybe 6 months ago. We were getting a lot of spin about the fact that he was going to concentrate on charity, that his thing was charity. His whole thing was always charity. And we were given the distinct impression that Meghan was going to be taking care of all that sort of showbiz side. Because when she turned up at the awards show, the variety thing on her own, there was a lot of sort of appearances where it was really determined that she was going to be the showbiz arm and he was going to be the serious charity arm. But I do feel that when Meghan saw that the showbiz arm, the showbiz side, wasn't really going that well. It wasn't tracking that well. So she sort of muscled in on a few sort of faux royal tours, which we know were in Nigeria and Colombia. But then whoever is taking care of Harry now, whoever he may be paying to take care of his PR and spin now, has advised him that the problem is Meghan, that if he wants to repair his reputation, if he wants to be respected once more on the global world stage, he needs to ditch Meghan. He needs to distance himself from Meghan. Now, this may not be a personal ditching yet. It may be just a professional ditching. And I think that's already taking place. Let's look at the next one. I'll bring it up big so you can see. So this is from the Daily Beast, and they're reporting on what actually was said in the Daily Mail. It beats doing any work yourself, I guess. The report in the Daily Mail says that they were not present at a big Emmys party hosted by Meghan's super powerful Hollywood agent, Ari Emanuel, this week. And now this is important, and notes that his agency, WME, failed to stop a highly critical story about the couple. Now, isn't it interesting, everyone, that at the time when Meghan and Harry actually left the UK and blamed the royal family for just about everything, even if they didn't have their socks washed that week, the royal family got the blame. But isn't it interesting that it was implied at the time that there was a habit that the royal family would sort of offer up stories about lesser royals in order to protect people like William and Catherine, for example. Now, a lot of the reporters on the Royal Rota disputed this and said, no, it doesn't really happen like that. If there is a story to print about any of the royals, we go ahead and print it. We check for verification, we check for comment, but we will print it. If it's a juicy story, we're going to print it. So it wasn't a case of sort of knocking one off the front page with another one that was offered up. However, in Hollywood, common practice. It is how it works. It's how it works in the PR game. It's how it works for WME. And they admit it in that little snippet. They admit that that's exactly how it works. So I guess Meghan probably convinced Harry at the time that that's how it was working in the UK as well. Trouble was, it wasn't. And so she had a bit of misinformation she was really pushing towards her husband at that point. However, the Mail source described as a senior Hollywood publicist who is now throwing Meghan under the bus is quoted in a new piece as saying, everyone industry-wide reads the Hollywood Reporter. Now, who would that have the most impact on? Meghan Markle. That was the one thing she had. She thought, Hollywood behind her, Hollywood protecting her. Harry didn't overly care. He wanted his wife to have a great reputation. He wanted his wife to be represented really well and in glowing terms, because that way he could sort of, shove it in the face of William and Catherine. See my wife, see how popular she is, see how talented she is. Everybody loves her. All the Hollywood bigwigs are fawning over her. Trouble is, it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way. Meghan Markle, although she's not in any movies, could be considered box office poison. And I don't think it is any coincidence at all that Harry actually turned up at Kevin Costner's do to honour the first responders, which Kevin Costner does every year to raise money. It's no surprise. I know that it was said that Meghan was sick and people are sort of hammering for her for that. But no, this is a plan. This is a calculated thing. This is rolling Harry out on charity things alone. So he is no longer tainted by the negativity that surrounds Meghan. They are trying to prevent Harry from being Markled. I don't think we even have to pay her any attention anymore. It's done and dusted, like I said. Really, it is. And so the only thing keeping this whole story alive now is the media, because I don't think there's anything really worth focusing on anymore other than their spin, other than their take on this. And the only way that I can prove that I am right, that Harry is having his reputation being rehabilitated, again, I'm not implying it's by the palace. I'm not. That's a huge leap. And that is getting into conspiracy theory realms, and I'm not going to leap there. But the only way I can prove that someone is finessing his reputation, someone is looking after Harry, is if I follow this story, if I follow the spin, week by week by week. it's interesting to me that I did receive a bit of pushback. I do have communication with other people that have YouTube channels. I do have communication with other people that are knowledgeable. I do have communication. I don't have any links with the royal family. I'm not implying that. I know a lot of people imply that, but I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't have any. But I do have people that are very knowledgeable, that are sort of on the outskirts of things and can offer me real opinion, particularly things that are unfolding in the UK. And I got a bit of pushback over my last video because they said, no one's finessing Harry's reputation. You're imagining it. So it is personal opinion. It is subjective. Let me know what you think down below. Like I said, I'm going to be following this. I'm going to bring you the more outlandish spin that happens. And look, every week there is some outlandish spin that we can enjoy and have a giggle at. But I'll also be focusing on any bad PR that is heading Meghan's way, not necessarily from the expected quarters, because what's happening is some Harkle-friendly media is starting to turn. Now, I first noticed it just before the Hollywood Reporter bullying article. She Knows, which is Penske Media, started to distance themselves from Meghan Markle, not from Harry. They were posting a lot of quite positive articles about Harry leading up to the Hollywood Reporter article, but they had sort of abandoned Meghan. That's what I noticed. Also, people in InStyle are still sort of pro Meghan and pro Harry, because I think pretty much that would be the last Harkle-friendly media that Meghan actually has wrapped up. I think she has that wrapped up. But I think who's ever looking after Harry now and Harry's charity sort of dues and activities, I think that they will favour Harry over time. I think everyone is sensing where the real power will end up. And the real power is going to end up with Harry. It's going to end up with Harry in Hollywood. And I'm fairly positive that some really big players in Hollywood are still backing Harry. And the pushback that I got in relation to that convinces me I'm onto something. So let's have a look at this spin that's going Harry's way. So this is the headline about sick Meghan Markle. Daily Mail fails to show up alongside Prince Harry at Kevin Costner charity event as royal takes to stage to honour first responders. Now, it was interesting what Harry actually said to the person he was honouring, who was a helicopter pilot. He said, we're both more comfortable behind the controls of a helicopter than up on stage, aren't we? Now, if Meghan Markle had have made, I'm not defending Meghan. I'm glad she's done and dusted. I'm glad that she's not receiving any support now. I'm glad that her power base has definitely fallen away from beneath her feet. Trust me. But if Meghan had made a comment like that, everyone would have been really pointing out the sheer vanity and narcissism and the me about such a remark. And nobody has. Nobody has. Because Harry made it. So I'll point it out. I think that's insufferable. You know, when people always make everything about them, but Harry does it in such a happy, chappy, jokey, likeable way. And everybody was saying, see, it's the old Harry. Without Meghan, he started the Kevin Costner event. And that was the intention, and it worked. Let's have a look at the next bit. Prince Harry to continue Princess Diana's work, to be champion of the landmine and youth causes. So, okay, let's look at the landmine thing, because this is a bit of a hoot. So here we have the Daily Mail online pointing out that he's following in his mother's footsteps on this very worthy cause. It is, of course, very worthy. We all want to get rid of landmines. I'm not knocking that. However, you can always count on wondrous, intelligent, smart people on X to show you the real story. This is a behind the scenes photograph. Let's blow it up full screen so you can really see. Harry doing a fake landmine walk. Notice the guy putting out the flags. Now, we can expect in these days of showbiz that they're not going to put the prince at risk, are they? They're going to put him in a completely cleared field, as of course they would have with Princess Diana. But it is amusing to see the guy in the white shirt going ahead, you know, setting up the stage, setting up all all the flags. And then we get the heroic shot, the second shot, where he's seemingly walking through a minefield. The guy in the white shirt and the guy in the black shirt with the baseball cap, they didn't have any such protection when they were actually setting up for the shot. So it's going to be really interesting to look at this every week from this angle, from the media reporting or spinning Harry and Meghan, because really I don't think there's a lot for me to focus on anymore. Like I said, Meghan's had it and Harry's reputation is being sort of rehabilitated. So I'll follow that journey just to prove that in my last video, I was right. See you again soon. Bye.